What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Playbook. It's your boy Brian, and today we're going to be talking about the first round sum-ups of the 2025 NBA playoffs, and followed by the second round matchup with my co-host Steve. The first matchup we're going to be discussing today is going to be the Cavs and the Miami Heat. The series was a clean sweep. Despite Garland missing the last two games, the Cavs managed to beat him by 50 in Miami. It wasn't even close at all. It was just terrible, and the Cavs, as expected, have moved on. The next series we're going to be moving on to is the Bucks and the Indiana Pacers. It was a gentleman's sweep. It was honestly Giannis out there by himself, and then Dame came back prematurely from an injury and unfortunately has a torn Achilles. That franchise needs answers, and a lot of people are going to be in question, including Doc Rivers after this offseason. Moving on to the next matchup, we're going to go to the New York Knicks versus the Detroit Pistons. Very competitive series. Every game was close, I believe, and honestly was just cinema. Great display on defense from everybody. The Knicks edged them out due to Brunson hit a game winner in Detroit. Detroit didn't manage to win one home game, which was pretty sad, and honestly, I like what the future holds because they could move on from this experience. But the Knicks have a tough matchup ahead. Looking forward, as we're going to get to that. Moving on to the final matchup coming out of the East. The Celtics versus the Magic. Magic just proved that it's just a two-man horse. It's just legit Paolo and Franz, and it's just like everybody else, the supporting cast was just not there. And it was a gentleman's sweep, as we kind of expected. Celtics are just on their path right now to make another run to the championship. And the first series coming out of the West, which was the OKC Thunder versus the Memphis Grizzlies. Honestly, the first two games were blowouts. We saw that. The Grizzlies had some hope. They were up 20 at halftime, and then Ja had an injury that just ruled them out for the rest of the playoffs, and it wasn't much of a series after that. OKC Thunder sweep, and they just move on to see if they're actually serious. Moving on to the next matchup, which was the best matchup in my opinion this first round, which was the Clippers versus the Nuggets. And wow, what a series. Came down to 7 games, and unfortunately, James Harden just did not show up. They lost by 30, I believe, and it was just it's disappointing because you look at that last game and you expected more just based on how the series was going, and it was no fight coming from the Clippers. But Nuggets prevailed. I called Nuggets in 7, and they move on. And the next matchup, unfortunately, my Lakers in 5 prediction was Wolves in 5, and it was just I went dark on my friends. I went dark on life. It was just a terrible series. Apparently, everybody was hurt after. I believe LeBron was hurt. AR has no excuse. Luka is legit a cone on defense. It was just terrible, and it's just the coaching at the end doesn't make much sense to me because it's just from the first quarter in our game 7, it's we were fighting for our lives just to keep the series going. It's just the first quarter, Rudy Gobert just absolutely dominated us, and we did not put a big in the game, not once. It was terrible. Wolves just embarrassed us, and back to the drawing board. I believe next year the Lakers will win the championship. Let's go Lakers. And moving on to the final matchup coming out of the West, the Warriors versus the Rockets. And the Warriors, when it all seemed like it was going bad, Curry prevailed again. What a game 7 from that guy. And you know what I mean? They move on as we all expected. And it was just Jimmy and Curry were just too much. They have some things that they could work on. They have some trouble, I believe, with the bigs. But I feel like the Warriors are going to be in good hand, and the next matchup is going to be a good one. Alright guys, now that was the sum up for the first round of the NBA playoffs. Now I'm going to send it off to my co-host Steve. We're going to break down the second round of the NBA playoffs.
Thank you, Brian. That was the first round recap. Moving on to the second round. The first matchup is the Cleveland Cavaliers against the Indiana Pacers. We just finished watching that game, and it was an amazing, amazing game from the Pacers. The only highlight for the Cavs in that game was that third quarter where Donovan Mitchell took over. But aside from that, their offense looked very, very stale. They are missing Garland, and I feel like in this series, they're going to feel that compared to the last series against the Heat. They need another scorer. They need another bucket getter. But in this series, I still have the Cavs. I have Cavs in 7. I think it's going to be a grueler. And then the next matchup coming out of the Eastern Conference is the Knicks versus the Celtics. This one is going to be another banger. I know the record that the Knicks had against the top teams in the NBA. I know they didn't win one game, but I still think this is going to be a 6 to 7 game series. In this one, I'm going to have to go with the Knicks. I think they're going to show everybody that they're the real deal. I think they're definitely a matchup problem. If OG and Macau show up and they play how they're supposed to play, how they played in that last game in Detroit, I think they have a chance. So I have the Knicks here in 6 or 7 games. Moving on to the Western Conference, the first matchup is the Thunder versus the Nuggets. On FanDuel, they have the Thunder as a minus 900 favorite to win this series. I think that's hysterical. I think the series is going to be pretty good. No one in that team can stop Jokic, not one person. And until he's on that court, I always give the Nuggets a chance. So I have the Nuggets winning this one also in 6 to 7 games. I feel like all these matchups are going to go deep. But I got the Nuggets here. And moving on to the last series in the Western Conference is the Wolves versus the Warriors. A little scare there against the Rockets. You know, we almost blew a 3-1 lead, but Curry just showed out. Jimmy showed out. Draymond showed out. Everybody just did their part. And we came out winning. We came out on top. So in the next series, I have the Warriors winning that, of course. Might be a little biased, but I have that also going to 6-7 games in the favor of Warriors. I do understand that there is a disadvantage when it comes to the bigs. Rudy Gobert and Julius Randle is going to be a big problem for the Warriors. But I still got the Warriors winning this. But there you guys have it. That is my second round predictions. Down in the comments, you can let me know if you disagree or agree with me. All I ask is for you guys to continue to smash that like button, that subscribe button, and just keep supporting us so that we can continue to do this. We're loving this, like I always say, and we appreciate all the support. And we'll catch you guys in the next one.